2 or 3 lengths clear now.
Yeah, I think heading down the
confidence
course there.
of her rowing, and I'd say looking at her technique, she's got a long way to go. She could develop a lot further.
Yeah.
So there's something going to be coming out of that girl, I think.
Yeah, I think the Winnipeg Rowing Club Sculler is going to head down the course there, and we've got the next race on the course now. Is the race 328, the first semi-final of the senior quadruple sculls, with Reading University Boat Club A on the Berkshire station and Edinburgh University on the Buck station. Obviously, Reading University, the first student club to declare themselves an all-sculling club, so they pride themselves on their ability to move a quad. And obviously Edinburgh have had a fantastic season at the student level, racking up a number of good results at various regattas through the year, including Bucks and the head of the river. So this will be a fascinating matchup between two crews who will obviously know each other's profile well. And I think it's Edinburgh have just stolen the early march there.
Yeah, I wonder what would happen here. I saw Reading University Boat Club crew earlier in the week. I was able to, I think, commentate on their win to get through to this stage, and they looked really good. So I wonder what would happen, but Edinburgh looking very slick there. Goodness, they've got a tall girl in at 2 as well in the Edinburgh crew.
Then what do you think of that catch placement for the Edinburgh crew? You really look at it and it's just so synchronised. It's beautiful to watch a quad scull like that.
They're looking very tidy, aren't they? And what I really like as well, you don't often see it, that I would definitely advocate kind of the pushing down of the hands, particularly in a quad, to pushing down the hand to get the blades really clear off the water.
Yeah.
And I just find, that gives you an extra speed off the back, kind of like this free speed off the back. Whereas in the Reading crew, you can just see the blades kind of in and out a bit more. It gives you that more rushed feeling at the finish, can you see? Because it's just kind of level in and out, and you've got a bit more rush. Whereas the university, because they're tapping it down there, Edinburgh University tapping it down, gives that nice bit more flow out the finish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gives them a chance to really push it off there.
As those crews came flying past our second
though.
camera station just down from Temple Island and now heading towards the enclosures, it was the crew from Edinburgh on the Buckinghamshire station who had around 3/4 of the length and striving to break clear of the Reading crew. I mean, how important, if they were to snap that elastic band, how important is that psychological advantage, of having a bit of clear water between yourself and your opposition?
Yeah, it can be. It's what you want, isn't it? And it's very difficult. It is possible to come back, and anything can happen. This Edinburgh University quad, I'm not quite sure if it's the same combination, but Edinburgh University quad did win quads event at the Bucks Regatta, so they've got some form this season. And I would say, I didn't know if they were the same combination, but I'd say that they've been together some time.
Yeah, I think it's 2 of the girls from that crew,
Right.
and 2 of the girls are racing separate events this weekend. But obviously, still a lot of form in this crew.
Yeah, and I think they've.
I mean, look at them coming down the
very
course.
Okay. Okay. Hmm? Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, if we watch those scullers, I think Edinburgh just still striving to break clear, aren't they? Though.
Yeah, it's just a difficult.
Puffing and puffing.
It's a difficult one because, it's already, what time is it now? Already 11 o'clock, and they're going to have their final later today. There's, quite sure what time their final is, but it can't be that late. No. So they've got, you've got to finish this race, you've got to get off the water, you've got to put your boat away, you've got to eat, stretch, relax, and then it's pretty much time to get back on the water again. So coming down here, they're not going to want to do any more than they need to. So perhaps they're just sitting on it at a length. You'd hope to get clearer, but this is a tidy Reading University crew who are not letting them get. Now maybe they just got a little bit ahead.
Well, that was our first semi-final of the senior quads, and that was Edinburgh sculling away, looking like they were the class crew in that event. So we'll head back up to the start for the second semi-final, which is Croft Rowing Club on the Berkshire station and a Tideway Sculler School Bournemouth University composite on the Buckinghamshire station. Just off the start, nice and clean. I tell you what, there's nothing more pleasing to see than 2 quad sculls underneath Temple Island heading off in beautiful synchronicity. It's a wonderful sight to behold.
You sound like you've got some quads experience there.
Sculling was my discipline. I was never particularly good at it, but I did enjoy sculling, I have to say. I always found it to be the easier of the 2 disciplines.
Well, I've raced both single and quads on this course. I think I have won both singles and quads on this course, at either Women's Henley or Royal Henley, and I don't know. They're both it's both a hugely enjoyable experience and hugely terrifying at the start. I mean, the quads is hugely terrifying actually, because you've got all that speed and no cocks.
Yeah.
So the reliability for the steering is with one of these girls and her foot. At the moment, it's they both steered a good course. Actually, the Croft crew's coming across a little bit. Tideway Scullers dead straight down there. They've managed to get the advantage. Would you say they've not quite broken clear there? Nearly a length though, isn't it, Tom? What do you reckon?
Yeah, around 3/4 length, I think, there to the Scullers Bournemouth University composite. Maybe even half a length.
Yeah, now we get the parallax coming out.
Yeah, Croft just steering back onto their station there, and it looks like both crews won't be warned by the umpire, which is nice to see. Steering a fair and competitive race. But you're right, I mean, the difficulty of steering with a foot plate, your foot attached to the rudder, it is incredibly difficult, especially when you're trying to row and scull competitively and at a high rate at the same time. That was always my job in the boat. I was always the smallest.
Both these crews have kept their ratings really high. If you look at that Tideway Scullers crew, you'd say there's this terminology in rowing. I don't know. We used to use it. I don't know if you still. It's striding out. Do you still use that?
Yeah,
or not?
absolutely. Yeah.
So striding out, and you kind of have that bit where you kind of all take a breath and stride out into your race pace.
Have they done that yet?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Have they strode?
Yeah, they strode. It's still, they seem to be sustaining it pretty well, but they're still up there at 36, 37, which is not desperately high in a quad, but for a club quad,
It's chunky, isn't it? It's chunky.
it's going some.
Well, I think if they can
They're just
continue
needing to.
continue to maintain it, then that's no problems, is it?
36, yeah, it's a perfect rate. Looking very tidy again, pushing the hands down nice. Sitting quite high, the boat's sitting quite high out of the water there. So they're having to, it's a good job it's nice stable conditions for them.
Well, it looks like
Here comes Croft.
just sneaking back. If anything, I think it might be Croft who have taken the lead here, Alison.
We'll
Just by, in fact, they've had a blistering second quartile there.
They've had a push in there, haven't they? So everything done by these girls in the boat now. Someone is steering, someone is calling, someone's making the decisions. This is all them. And wow, in that last 200 metres, they put in a massive push. They have just been underrating the Tideway Scullers crew all the time, and that's enabled them to push their rating up and come back through from half a length down to half a length up within 200 metres.
Mightily impressive stuff, though, you have to say. For a crew to take almost, it must be over a length. That's 3/4 down, as you say, to 3/4 up. That's got to be a length and a half there.
Absolutely motoring. Look at that. I was looking at the top and thinking there's almost a little like a rush coming back up the side. They're so quick onto it.
Yeah.
But actually, because they're managing to do that so well together. Again, there's a lot of Croft crews here this year. I've seen a lot, and a lot of very good standard. It's great to see that it's not just all the London crews having it their own way now. There's crews from up north, of course, Croft up in Manchester, that rowing really is right across the country. You can go anywhere. Anyone watching at home, wanting to go down, I always say, people think it's some kind of elitist sport, and it's absolutely not. You will have a rowing club within a few miles of you, and it will be cheaper to join your rowing club than your local gym. That's what I always say, and certainly very, very much cheaper if you're junior.
There you go, cutting edge recruitment and facts here from the Henley Women's Regatta.
But and it gives you so much more. You get the wonderful thing as you're here, here for 3 days, and still Croft.
Yeah, still leading. I don't think they're looking like they're going to relinquish that.
I think it's a rare thing in rowing that you get a complete turnaround from being down, from being they were nearly a length down to now a length up.
Especially in the bigger boats as well.
Yeah, that's just that shows some grit, and that shows the determination. This is for a place in the final, the chance of a Henley women's medal. So
yeah, Croft coming towards the finish here.
Coming down now. Back up to the start now. So in the start now we have what is the first but only semi-final of the elite. It says the quads, but it's not quads there.
Well,
it's definitely
it's not elite 8s either.
It's not elite. Oh, we have a rescheduled row. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a bit of a guessing game for us here in the commentary box. It looks like Croft on the Berkshire station, and it might be Grosvenor.
I think so.
On the.
Oh, this is exciting! Fantastic. Okay, so it was a dead heat. So we followed this race down.
Oh, excellent.
We followed this race down to 1,200 metres, and we were very disappointed not to see the end because it was so close. And actually, this race was a dead heat. So these girls have had to they have no gap. It was a dead heat. They raced stroke for stroke all the way down the course, Agecroft and Grosvenor. And they have now had to go right up the course and start again. And so Agecroft here, it's not surprising. Agecroft underrating really rather there, the Grosvenor crew. And this gives me a chance to make amends because Grosvenor was one of the first races I commentated on. Very early on Friday, literally plonked in this seat. And in my notes, it says, as it did on your screen, Grosvenor Chester. Our cameras weren't working and I couldn't see the crew, so I assumed it was a Grosvenor Chester composite. And I think some people got a bit upset about that because as you can see, they're all in the yellow of Grosvenor. So rowing at Chester, and I do not because I, being from Liverpool, rowed on this river against low Grosvenor crews many times. So this is a tough race. They've raced every stroke down for 1,500 metres. They come back up to the top and done it again. And it's Grosvenor who've taken the early advantage.
Yeah,
what do you reckon to
absolutely.
this one, Tom?
I have to say, I think it's going to come down to who's dealt with the lactic acid better, who's managed to recover the better of the two crews. And you're right, it's a bit sluggish in the Agecroft boat, isn't it? Far sharper, far more reactive in the Grosvenor boat. And I never want to call a race like this because we've already seen that these two crews, in terms of their strength and their technique, are incredibly close to each other. But I think Grosvenor just looking like the sharper of the two crews as we come down towards the barrier marker.
Grosvenor have really gone. I mean, that shows some bravery. They've gone down and with sort of half a mile there, they're still at 35-36, which is really something. The Agecroft, I think, went off slower and they're at 33. Not Agecroft, is it? Sorry.
No, it is Agecroft.
It is Agecroft. I'm getting confused now. So we've got a bit of a northern battle. Agecroft and Grosvenor. These two northern crews will have raced each other this season. Yeah. Perhaps why they let it go to a dead heat. You know, they'll have.
They raced each other 20 minutes ago.
They won't. They'll know each other, you know, and they'll have raced each other all season, and it'll be a little bit personal, and it'll be very personal now. And but it is Grosvenor who've got the advantage.
Yeah, and they're holding on to that, aren't they? That's about 3/4 of a length to them, but it does look like Agecroft, in true Agecroft fashion, are mounting a bit of a charge here. As they come past our parallax, it's about half a length, isn't it?
Agecroft known for being quite hard and perhaps nutcases, maybe slightly a little bit, but they pulled it back. They pulled it back. So here, you know, maybe they were right with their tactics. Maybe they actually had, you know, they had a little quick word from their coach, a quick word from the cox and said, look, you know, you've got lactic acid in your legs. Don't go crazy off the start. It's another long race you've got, because they went off actually quite, you know, 33, 34, but they're now holding that and are coming back on a very, very brave Grosvenor crew. Oh my goodness.
This is impressive.
Could we
stuff,
have a second dead heat
I
of
was
the day?
about to say, umpires and officials, if you're listening, what are we going to do if we have another dead heat? Because Agecroft are mounting a charge here.
And this is
down
just
the
a
Berkshire
semi-final.
Station.
This is just a semi-final. So these crews are going to have to race again today in a final.
Knackered. Doesn't even cover it.
I think Agecroft have gone ahead. Agecroft have gone ahead. They're showing that northern grit. They're pulling ahead. Perhaps just if Grosvenor have responded. Where are they getting this from? This is the winter training playing out.
Absolutely,
you know,
yeah.
Nobody gets it. Nobody who doesn't row really gets it.Ese are club rowers, and these women will train pretty much every day. They will train twice on Saturdays, twice on Sundays. They'll come down every night of the week after work, and they'll be on the ergos during the winter. They'll be out in the boats. They'll be in the gym doing circuit training, and you know, you wonder when you're going to need it.
You have to say, it does look
it's
like...
now.
Absolutely. I think so. Those long ergos, you're right. And you have to say, I think Grosvenor have responded to the Agecroft push, and they've just knocked them back a little, but we've still got 300 metres, 250 metres left.
I'm glad we're still watching this as long as we can. So Grosvenor, you know what? They've been up there at 35 and a half the entire race, and they're still there. Agecroft set off, they were... You know, they looked like a little bit lower, 33, 34, but now they're at 36. Now they're matching, now they're perhaps a little pip ahead. They're giving themselves a chance to recover. I can't even imagine what they're feeling in their bodies at the moment.
Coming down towards the
I
finish.
have never had to do this. I've never had to race a dead heat and race two back-to-back.
Unbelievable
In all
stuff.
the rowing I've done, I've never had to do this.
I think it will be Grosvenor, though, coming up to the line. It does it like half a length. Just
You're
about.
going to get to see it. It's Grosvenor. They fought all the way. They had the bravest race, perhaps.
Yeah, impressive stuff.
It's going to be half a race.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Grosvenor just crossing the line.
Wow.
And that must be devastating for the Agecroft crew. But what a fantastic spectacle, and kudos to both crews.
They can take their pride away, for certain. And, you know, that's just amazing.
Super stuff.
Our own Northern Boat Race there, I think.
Oh, quite, absolutely. On the Henley stretch.
So it'll be Grosvenor racing in the final